What's going on, Mr. Pettycraft? You feel like talking low riding, my brother? You feel like talking classic cars? Send me a request if you do, my brother. Let's talk classic cars. Talk about history. If you're into that, my brother, if you feel like it. I'm just getting on here. Y'all know I ain't been on here in a minute, so I want to say let's do a live and talk about some stuff. Y'all give me some topics. What y'all want me to talk about? Y'all got any questions for me? Anybody want to come on here with me? Talk about something. See, y'all had a good old time. Tell me about the event this weekend. What y'all think about what's going on in the world? What's going on? What opinion of mine would y'all like to have? What's my thoughts on something? I just jumped on here. I'm like, hey, I ain't been on there in a while. And I got some time. Let me go ahead and talk about something. See what there is to talk about. There's so much stuff going on in the world. So much stuff going on. It's just ridiculous, the stuff that's going on. I entitled this video, Culturally Responsible. I'm sure I talked about that before, but I see I feel like we need to talk about it more because it's just crazy out here, y'all. All this, they passed that law talking about people don't get arrested. I mean, they get arrested, but they're not going to give them bail. They're just going to let them back out for nonviolent crimes. So here's my thoughts on that. If y'all don't know, I think 50 Cent had brought it up first and gave it some exposure. I noticed as soon as that law passed, and all of a sudden, as soon as 50 Cent brought it out and exposed it, keep in mind, brothers ain't keeping up with the laws that's getting passed. You know what I'm saying? Not like that. Not them young people. They ain't reading the laws. So I believe every time something like that happens, every time a law passes, and all of a sudden, them young men started running up into them shopping malls, into them expensive malls, and started snatching and grabbing and busting all the jewelry store glass out, snatching all the jewelry and all of that. I believe all that stuff be arranged, y'all. All that stuff be arranged. Somebody paying brothers to do that, and then sometimes I believe some of them ain't even really brothers. There'll be somebody else with a mask on that look like he's a brother. You know what I'm saying? We got to learn how to really pay attention to what's going on, you know? I believe in critical thinking. I believe in critical thinking. We should all try it before they outlaw that, before they ban it. Say critical thinking, and then all of a sudden you get blocked, you know, because of you thinking too critically. So I like to see when it happened that all of a sudden somebody got arrested that didn't look like us. Turns out he hired those kids to go in there and steal all the jewelry out of his store and hold them at knife point, and he had a $2.8 million claim, and he got arrested. So I think that's been going on for years, y'all. That's my personal opinion, because it's like when you put the stigmatism on people like they got over our people who look like me, when they put that stigmatism over them, like, oh, listen to this bad gangster rap they doing, listen to all this drama they creating, you know, all this mayhem. The rappers is going to jail. All this crazy rappers is threatening people, fighting and arguing and shooting at people, doing all kind of crazy stuff. And you know, now you got all these young men snatching and grabbing, doing stuff. And now they setting it up for people to say, yeah, black people's a problem. Black people's a real problem. They all beating up the poor white people with a chair. You know, now they making fun of it. You know, they setting us up, y'all. All I can say is I can just see it clear as day. That's why y'all notice I really didn't chime in on that conversation, because every time I see something, that Mississippi brawl or whatever it was, Mississippi brawl, Alabama brawl, I think it was Mississippi. Every time I see something like that, when I see stuff on the news, I don't never just comment that same day. I like to wait, because I'm just so familiar with people trying to set people up. This whole social media thing it's all a hoax. It's all, they know you won't hear it. They know you watching it. Now they got AI. Oh, don't get me started. AI is a problem, y'all. AI is a problem. They creating that whole snatch and grab thing may have been fake. That could have been a whole fake scenario. I'm like, was anybody in the mall that day? Did anybody personally see that? Did anybody else other than the people who posted on social media? Did anybody else got a video of that actually happen? Did you personally witness that? Because they can create stuff. Just like that back in the days, they had a movie out called Wag the Dog, where they created a fake war. Y'all look up that movie, Wag the Dog. That stuff is so relevant to what's going on right now. So, again, every time I see something, I always sit back and wait and watch and pay attention and listen. Because it's always a setup. You know what I'm saying? And some things are so common sense, y'all. So I notice people just dive in and just be all over stuff and just start talking about it. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, did anybody verify, was that real? Did anybody else see a video? Or was anybody in the mall that day? Did anybody work there that saw that? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, people be like, have things be happening, and then somebody be on social media be like, I live there and that ain't happening out here. I don't know where they get that from. I see stuff like that all the time. It'd be like, yeah, crisis actors faking it. They filmed that somewhere else. It's all AI and everybody fell for it and it's gone viral. People all on the page arguing and debating each other about something that was an AI setup. So I always pay attention to that kind of stuff, y'all, to see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I'm always paying attention to see what's going on because I understand the setup is real. I understand how they set people up and play people against each other, I watch, I listen, I pay attention, y'all. And I see very clearly of what's really going on. That's why y'all don't see me on here that much because I'm more interested in fixing the problem than I am sitting online debating about the problem. Too many people as experts, they social media attorneys. You know what I'm saying? Don't gotta have no proof. They just say it's not true. It's not true. And I think about stuff like that, and I'm like, they pull up his name. He said it ain't true. They pull up his name. He got 8,000 followers, 800,000 followers. They be like, oh, he must be smart. He got 800,000 followers, so it must be true. It's like, y'all, this social media it's way out of control. Just like everything else, it was all weaponized against us to hurt us, to use us, to make us look stupid. We got to be more culturally responsible with our actions. So everything I try to post, man, I try to make sure it's just something that's gonna motivate y'all. I try to make sure it's something that's going to inspire y'all, educate y'all. It'd be a call to action for something positive. I'm not trying to hate on nobody. I'll be trying to inspire y'all. Hey, this is what I did. This is what we doing. This is what my friends are doing. I see them making wealth off of this, so this is working. But then at the same time, I find myself correcting a lot of situations going on in the community that I just don't agree with. It's kind of hard let me tell you what's been going on with me. I work with a lot of schools dealing with the problem. So I try to just get the job done and teach the people, teach everybody. Just get the battle done and deal with the politicians and fix the problems and all of that. Some people out here trying to sell classes, other people out here trying to fix the problem. Y'all know me, y'all ain't never really seen me selling no classes until recently because I was busy trying to fix the problem. I was boots on the ground dealing with the politicians, making phone calls on behalf of people that they didn't even know I was making phone calls on. You know what I'm saying? To help to fix the problem so we can all live good and do better, But now that I'm coming in all the time, talking about people, what they're doing and what messages they're sending out into the community that I don't agree with, You know, I find myself, people are like, oh, you was talking about such and such. Oh, you talking about them. Be like, no, I was talking about a topic. But if you picked it up that way, it probably was them, but it probably was a whole lot of other people too. But I've been on my class today. I got classes tomorrow, and I got some coming up. And y'all might want to hit my website up, tjlofton.com. You know what I'm saying? And check it out. I'm starting to get into the class game because I feel like if you want something done right, that's what they say, right? You want something done right, do it yourself. I'm gonna talk about my experience at the. I went to that. It was it in Event Fest, Invest Fest, or something like that. I did a walkthrough on Sunday. Oh, let me rewind the conversation back. Y'all know I got a August 5th. I was honored as a car builder, a celebrity car builder. I was honored for my coach. I was honored for my contributions to hip hop. You know, all the things, cars I built, you know what I'm saying, for the rap videos, movies, TV shows, and most importantly, for helping to maintain the infrastructure of lowriding. Because y'all know when lowriding first started, everybody was like, oh, that's gang members. All those guys is gangbangers. Those are gangster cars, stuff like that. And I'm like, do I look like a gangster? You know what I'm saying? I'm a little guy. All my homeboys is big guys. I'm just a little guy here, and they tell me, oh, them is gangbang cars. I'm like, I don't look like no gangbanger, do I? And I got lowriders. I'm a lowrider car builder. I'm a celebrity car builder. But anyway, I was honored for my contributions into that world because they say I played a pivotal part of maintaining the infrastructure and making sure people did what they said they was going to do, making sure we stayed up to date with the technology, made sure that we was represented properly, you know, having black businesses, you know, in place. So we didn't have to go through the BS. You know what I was thinking about doing, y'all? I'm thinking about doing some stories. Story time with TJ. I want to just start telling some of my crazy entrepreneurial stories. So I want to have like entrepreneurial stories with TJ. You know, so like, come on there. One of my homeboys inspired me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Mr. Slick. You know, so they be sitting there telling all these crazy stories about stuff I don't even want to talk about. But I'm thinking I'm gonna start telling my crazy entrepreneurial stories about things that happen in my life in the world of entrepreneurship. So, of course, I can't never use no names, and I kind of hesitate about situations because somebody gonna say that was such and such. He talking about such and such and them. I think he clowning you, dog. You know, so I gotta be tiptoe around stories, you know what I'm saying? But I got some stories that I could tell that y'all will learn a lot about stuff. I call things, you know, I was just in a major situation in life where the universe was using me, ancestors was using me to do a lot of stuff. So I was very successful in business, and you know that's why I was honored by the West Coast Hip Hop Awards for my contributions in hip hop, of putting those classic cars in there and helping my homeboys to put them in there, doing all those movies and all that type of stuff. But most importantly, we sold a lot of cars and shipped a lot of cars all around the world: Japan, Germany, Australia, Sweden, New Zealand, etc. So, you know, I helped to dot the I's and cross the T's in that industry. And it was like, the cold part about it is a lot of people didn't know it was me. A lot of people knew about the business brand. They knew about Express Gold Plate and Motor Suspension, Compton Wire Wheel, but they didn't know it was a black dude that owned all that. Y'all heard what I said? I owned Express Gold Plate and Compton Wire Wheel and Motor Suspension back in the early 90s, like 93. You know what I'm saying? Something in that neighborhood all the way up to 2009 before I said, enough is enough. It's time for a brother to go on the hiatus and take a break. Actually, they forced me out. Too much. Too many amazing stories happening where law enforcement decided that we don't want him in this stuff anymore because he's too organized. they organizing all these guys and everybody got rich and made all this money and they can't come lock nobody up no more, because ain't nobody doing anything illegal. You know what I'm saying? Everybody went from convicted felons to legal business owners, and they accredit that to me. That's why y'all hear me say stuff like, I am directly responsible for helping over 100 people, 100 convicted felons start businesses, and indirectly responsible for helping thousands because those convicted felons that I taught became very successful when they went back and hired their sons, their daughters, their cousins, their uncles, their aunties, their next door neighbors, their homeboys, etc. They just kept the black print rolling to where all of a sudden now we got a multi-billion-dollar industry. Now, I ain't say I was worth $1 billion. I ain't say I was worth $1 million. I ain't say I was worth any amount of money. I'm just saying that industry is worth a lot of money. But y'all know, ain't saying your car has been in the rap videos. Yep. I ain't gonna go into that. Y'all got to see the. Matter of fact, I got some class coming up about that. You know what I'm saying? Some movies and all, not movies, but I got some classes coming up. I decided I want to start teaching, about that. But I do a lot of, what word am I looking for? I do a lot of lectures on it. I talk about the social and economic effects of lowriding, the relationship between hip hop and lowriders and hip hop. So I talk a lot about the, black history of lowriding. I talk a lot about that, things that y'all need to know, because the problem with what it is, I'm the first person that ever came out that industry and started talking about what was going on in that industry. And because of that, now we got classes about sandblasting, powder coating, all types of things going on in Compton College, going on at Centennial High School in Compton, where I grew up at. And, I'm an advisor to the Compton School District. So I was successful in getting some of those classes put into the schools so that we can pull from the schools into these industries. I'm like, hey, you ain't got no debt in the classic car industry. So anyway, getting back to it, they honored me August 5th for my contributions to the West Coast Hip Hop Awards to hip hop. And then I got honored again by somebody totally different. That was in California, so I got honored in Jonesboro, Georgia. They gave me some kind of presidential award and the Black I Am Awards for my contributions to the community, my service to the community of bringing in new information to let people know, hey, college alone is not enough. You know what I'm saying? We got to start making some investments. We got to buy real estate. We got to invest in these classic cars. I was talking to my brother yesterday. He said, man, I got cars in the backyard that I ain't even touched, and they making equity. They got equity through the roof. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and most people think that only works with houses. No, it actually works with cars too. So some of them cars I used to work on that I was paying $300 for cost $100,000 now. A $300 car in 1991 is now worth $100,000. Can y'all imagine that? Imagine you ain't even touched it. It's just been sitting in your garage and the value just going up and up. So yeah, it's stuff like that. I've been honored. I got 3 awards in August, and I got 5 total this year. So it feels good to get my my flowers while I'm here, y'all. That was pretty cool, to be honored, because I sat back and looked at all the drama that I went through in my whole lifetime. And that's why I'm gonna start telling those stories, I'm gonna start telling those stories about, certain stories. I'm gonna start telling them just to let y'all know, because a lot of people look at me and be like, he's a real estate guy. He's just selling classes or something like that. Talking about he the gentrification guy. Oh, I'm a lot more than that. I'm one of the. Y'all got to hear some of these stories. People tell you my stories is not to make me look good, none of that crazy stuff. My stories is to motivate, inspire, and educate, so that y'all can say, "Wow, let me prepare for that." Let me make sure that I don't ever have to go through that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I'll come up with a quick story real quick. Let me think of something. Y'all know I got to process thoughts and make sure that this won't go the wrong way, because somebody may say, you talking about Jeff, and, I tend to tell these stories and they just, it feels good to have overcame so much. So back in those days, it didn't feel good. I wasn't laughing back then. Now I'm 20 years out, 30 years out. Oh, I can laugh about some stuff now. But back in them days, I was pissed. I was mad. You know, people went to jail. People lost their lives. You know, all type of stuff. So what was I thinking about that I wanted to tell? A typical day with TJ Lofton running Express Gold Plating. Uh, Let me break something down for y'all. Let me tell y'all a little bit about my day. A typical day for me was not just sitting here making money. So I started a lowrider shop, right? I started a one-stop shop. Come here to get everything. So back in the days before I started my lowrider shop, we would have to go all over the town. We would have to go all over the city trying to build one lowrider. What's going on, family? We would have to go all over the city trying to build one lowrider. This was before I had my shop. This was before I got into my business. So we would build lowriders. Y'all know in order to build lowrider, you need batteries, you need solenoids, you need copper wiring, you need switchboards, you need switches, you need all this stuff. A lot of that stuff come from not Home Depot. Now they sell some of it at Home Depot, but like AutoZones and Pep Boys and stuff like that. So to put a car together, we would literally go to the AutoZone right here in the neighborhood, and we need 20 solenoids, for example. We'd have to go to 5 different AutoZones and Pep Boys trying to get 20 solenoids because nobody had everything in stock like that. You couldn't just go to Pep Boys and say, let me get all 20 of them solenoids. You got 20 solenoids? They'd be like, no, we got 6. You know what I'm saying? So that meant we would have to travel, man, and go everywhere. So I was one of the brothers who who started a business and created a one-stop shop to where I started stocking stuff. I started having car parts for lowriders in stock, and that was a huge success. So anyway, so I opened up my first business. Now, I grew up, and I ain't trying to be into the gangbang and all that. I'm just telling y'all the facts about how it went. I grew up in the blood neighborhood, so by default, that made me a blood, right? My neighborhood turned out to be one of the most notorious neighborhoods for gangsters in history and stuff. All this stuff happened in the neighborhood. So anyway, I decide that I'm going to open up my lowrider shop in Gardena, California, and it just so happened to be a Crip neighborhood. So, of course, you have to do something like that. Back then, lowrider shops would be, this is the Hoover Crip lowrider shop. This is the Nickerson Gardens lowrider shop. This the Rolling 60s lowrider shop. This they neighborhood. This they shop. You know what I'm saying? Unless you go into a Hispanic shop. Shout out to my homeboy Orleans, rest in peace. OG Orly, rest in peace. Shout out to the homeboy Miguel. You know what I'm saying? He out here old and shit, just doing his thing and enjoying his life. I appreciate that, brother. You know, a lot of them cats looked out for me growing up. Red's Hydraulics. Y'all see Red's Hydraulics on America's Most Wanted. You know what I'm saying? There was some of my partners right there, y'all. But that's a whole nother story. Like I said, I got stories, y'all. I got stories. Some of my homeboys made it to America's Most Wanted. Can y'all believe that? My closest friends, you know, and it's just unfortunate because what they showed on there was not even true. Stuff like that. So I opened up, so in order for me to open up that lowrider shop in that Crip neighborhood, it had to make some phone calls. Let them know, hey, I'm finna do this. I'm coming over there, you know, and I don't want no problems, you know. So, you know, I called and let people know. They like, okay, well, TJ from that neighborhood, man, that's crazy. Nobody'd ever done that before. Bloods don't open up shops in Crip neighborhoods, you know. Crips don't open up shops in Bloods neighborhoods, stuff like that. So I'm sure somebody did, but mine was the most known. because I was running ads in magazines and all kind of stuff. I was the only person back in those days running ads in lowrider magazines and street customs and scrape magazine, letting everybody know I'm over here. I'm over here. So again, I don't gang bang. I never played into that, but by default, people remember me growing up. They was like, "Oh no, that's that dude." That they called me that blood nigga. That's that blood nigga. you know. And I just like could not get away from it because the guys in my neighborhood was doing too much. They was doing the most. So anyway, fast forward the story. I'm trying to think of what story. So anyway, I would be sitting there at my shop. You got a lot of my homeboys coming up there checking on me regularly. And then I know a lot of Crips, y'all. I have never got into the gangbanging thing, but I've always had a lot of Crip friends, and they made sure they was the ones I called. And of course, they were like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea. Well, I'm doing it anyway. I need you to do what you got to do to make sure I'm cool. And they like, all right, man, I got you. I got you. You cool. You cool. you know what I'm saying? So I go open up my shop over in Gardena, California on 141st and Western. And I had a lot of people mad about that. I had a lot of people mad about it. So my name was always popping. TJ, that nigga TJ, that blood nigga, that nigga from Compton, that nigga from that neighborhood, all that shit, right? I would always have people calling me, be careful, nigga, you watch your back. You crazy for moving over there, but you need to watch your back. You pay attention to the shit going on around. I'd be like, yeah, okay, cool, I got you. I do that anyway, See, y'all, when I try to tell my stories, I got to be very mentally patient because I got to process it. When I'm telling stories, I'm thinking it through. Do I really want to tell this story? Do I want to say that? Because I feel uncomfortable talking about a lot of stuff. But I want to tell y'all stuff based on the fact that relationships, that's what I want to talk about. Relationships. No, the topic today is being culturally responsible. What does that mean when you're being culturally responsible? It meant that when I went out and left the house, when I ran my business, I knew that I was standing on the shoulders of some amazing people. You know what I'm saying? I knew that some amazing people had coached me, was my Jegna, that taught me a lot of stuff. So I knew whatever I did, I was being watched. And somebody was going to say, hey, TJ over there wearing all red, or TJ over there, doing something, and it's not a good look for us as a people, so people would get on my head about stuff. I had Crips getting on my head, hey man, you can't do this, don't be doing that. Oh, okay, cool, my bad. I had Bloods getting on my head, hey, don't do that shit no more. Okay, my bad. Then I had my Mexican OG homeboys getting on my, hey, TJ, man, that wasn't cool, but we fixed it for you. We talked about it. I was like, oh, okay, I appreciate that. So I had a lot of love because of the contributions that I did. Okay, I know what I'm going to tell. So most lowrider shops are known, people who own lowrider shops, 9 times out of 10 was some serious OG gangbangers or some OG gangsters, not gangbangers, but gangsters, some kingpins and stuff like that. So most of the lowrider shops was ran by kingpins, people who had a lot of money and a lot of power, a lot of respect. So you just don't have a lowrider shop in Southern California and not be somebody or not know somebody, if that makes sense, right? So y'all take that how y'all want to take it. So you had to be somebody powerful, special, something about you that made that okay for you to have a lowrider shop. You could not just be some square and have a lowrider shop. So anyway, fast forward the story. I'm gonna tell a relationship story with what do I want to tell? I'm just trying. I got so many stories just popping in my head, right? And then I gotta be careful because if I tell the story, then all of a sudden people start picking up the phone, and then I'll have ex-girlfriends and people start calling me, man, you didn't tell that right. That ain't what happened. Some people do, man. When you growing up, you know what I notice, y'all. What I notice is when I grow up, say I was worth $500. People, when somebody really ain't got no money, and then over the years they become multi-millionaires or they become very well respected, and you start telling them old stories, they get mad because they want the world to know that they was always way up here at the top of their game. They was never down there broke. You know what I'm saying? So it's very rare for people to admit that they was actually broke back in the days, you know. So I seen a lot of people that was broke, struggling, and I used to have to carry them by giving them credit and stuff like that. And all of a sudden now they all worth millions. You know, and I'm proud of them. I'm like, man, you know, and I coached a lot of these guys. I coached a whole lot of guys. So I tell you about helping all the guys with businesses, but I don't talk about all the people I helped get real estate, you know. But I helped a lot of people make money. So I remember telling, man, what story do I want to tell? I got so many stories. I like funny stories, y'all, because I like to laugh about stuff. But I was actually talking about my typical day with me. I'm trying to space these thoughts out, my stories. But so what did I do? What was a typical day with TJ running his Express Gold Plating, my Express Gold Plating, Compton Wire Wheels, and all of that? What do I want to talk about? What do I want to talk about? Because I want to inspire y'all. I don't want to scare y'all, but the truth is the truth. I got to tell y'all how this stuff goes. You know, first of all, entrepreneurship can be so lucrative. Entrepreneurship can be very lucrative that it can be very dangerous too. You know, I got a story. Okay, so I had a shop in Gardena, California. Then I had a shop in Palmdale, California. So I started this when I started franchising and opened up multiple shops. I don't want to tell that story. I'm just sitting there thinking, I don't want to tell that story. Okay, no, yeah, let's tell that story. It's about relationships, right? It's about relationships. So when I started my first business, I started making a lot of money real fast because again, I was once I became one of the first one-stop shops where I had everything in stock. So I had decided something happened in Gardena that inspired me to move to Palmdale. And of course, I decided, let me go and open up a second shop out there, you know, because I ain't going to be out there. I got to have a second shop. So I opened up a second shop while I was living out there. So the second shop turned out to be the gold mine. The first shop made a lot of money, but the second shop made a killing. That's the one that helped me to make the most money was my second location, right? So, oh, I got stories. The stories coming to my head. Okay. This is raining stories in my head, y'all. Do I want to tell y'all a gangster story that may make y'all look at me a little differently? Or do y'all want to tell y'all a story about about something that happened from business to business? Everything you got to think about it, y'all. I got to think about it. But anyway, so I remember. Let's start off with a crazy story. Y'all okay with that? So, of course, when lowriding was first starting, when I first started my lowrider business, it was not that normal. You had hoodsters that owned lowrider shops, and they was always in their neighborhoods. So again, I was the first one, black man, black dude, African American, whatever you call us, people look like me, that had multiple shops. I had one in Gardena, one in Palmdale, California. So when I opened up the second one in Palmdale, I had already started putting my name in the magazines. You know, I was like, Express Gold Plating is in Palmdale, Express Gold Plating, new location. I got one in Gardena. You know what I'm saying? I'm a wholesaler. I'm the creator of Compton Wire Wheels. You know, I do wholesale, meaning I'm the plug. I'm the plug. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, let's rewind that story back. Let's stick to Gardena. See, people are always after me about, don't tell that story. We're going to do the movie. We're going to put that in the movie. We're going to put that in the book. So I'll be like, I'm just so like walking all around in circles trying to figure out what can I talk about or what can't I talk about. You know what I'm saying? That story, that should be in a web series. That story should be a web series. Everything come out of my mouth is a movie, a web series, a TV show, or something. So I'm trying to think of what's some lightweight stories that I wasn't going to talk about. Okay, here go one. This that gangster story that we're going to talk about relationships. So again, I opened up the shop in Palmdale, California. So me growing up, I always knew that people made a great living being kidnappers and jackers, right? That was very common. I know y'all know that people started jacking people for those Dayton Wire wheels. That became, no, y'all don't know that. Well, some of y'all do know that, but y'all don't know that what do you call it? Carjacking became a federal offense because so many people was getting carjacked, but people didn't know it was because of the people who was getting carjacked was people who had Dayton Wire wheels on their cars. So because Dayton Wire Wheels was not a black-owned company, it was owned by other people. They never said getting jacked for Dayton Wire wheels. They would always say, "Oh, he got jacked. He got jacked for his low rider." So it just always put a bad stigmatism on lowriding, but really it was all because of those wheels. You know, those wheels were very, very expensive back in those days when they first came out. So anyway, a lot of brothers made a great living carjacking ballers, carjacking kingpins, all kind of stuff, right? So people would do licks. They call them, they would do licks. They would go out and rob people. They would go out and, this is hot in here. I hope y'all don't mind if I take my hat off. I got my hat off, my glasses off. I'm just relaxed, y'all. It's late, so I'm chilling. So, and keep in mind, as I tell these stories, I'm very humble. I'm very thankful. I'm very, the universe felt they needed me here. I'm thankful for that. I appreciate that. If y'all like my stories, by the way, hit my Cash App, money sign Thomas TJ Lofton, for me telling these stories, because I know y'all see how uncomfortable I am from telling these stories, trying to tell my little story. But I just think stuff like this need to come out. So let me tell y'all. So growing up in Compton, I had my heyday where I had the little Mercedes, the lowriders and all of that stuff. But I learned real quick that cats was getting kidnapped and jacked and stuff like that. So you had to be very careful. You could not be riding in your car comfortably knowing you got these expensive wheels on there, knowing people know who you are. So I looked at my homeboys. I noticed the kingpins, they wasn't riding around 24/7 in big $100,000 cars, or back then it was $50,000 cars. They was driving regular cars, you know what I'm saying? Some of them had all that fancy stuff, but they always had a bucket on the side. A lot of very wealthy friends of mine all had buckets. They had their fancy car that they drove whenever they felt like it, but the primary vehicle was a bucket. Matter of fact, I know y'all know Freeway Rick. He always talks about he was like a ghost. He didn't have all that stuff. This dude, a billionaire, and he riding around. And I remember one time I seen him in a 280ZX. You know what I'm saying? Dirty at that. So anyway, so that became my life. Doing very well, got money up to beyond measure, and when you see me on a regular day, I remember I had a Toyota Tercel, 1992 Toyota Tercel with a dent in the fender, and had cold AC, automatic with air, and I would sit back with my boys and brag about it because I got such a good deal on it because I bought it from one of the auctions or something like that. So I'll be dipping through the neighborhood and y'all would never see me coming. Y'all would never double look at it, give a double take. Y'all would never think, oh, that's TJ right there. You never think that was TJ because I'm the guy in the Lowrider magazine, the Japanese Lowriders magazine, the Street Custom magazine. I was in 5 magazines every month that was sold globally, so my name was it was way out there. You know what I'm saying? And so when you see me, I'm dipping in my little Toyota Tercel, dirty, don't even wash it, but once a month. You know, and I might be exaggerating about that. I was not that guy, and I'm still not that guy. If you see me now, you probably say, TJ be driving that dirty car. Yeah, that's me. That's real TJ. Laid back, relax. So anyway, I remember going home one day, and I see this supermodel girl sitting on a bus stop. And it was like, I went, whoop, like, whoop. Like, damn. Like, what the fuck? Like, she ain't supposed to be on the bus stop. Look at her. She was like, wow. So normally I don't trip off of that kind of stuff. I be like, okay, cool, she fine, whatever. I ain't got time. I'm too busy for that. I'm busy, you know. But this day I was like, shit, I need to go back and holler at her. Because remember, I just moved to Palmdale, but I'm from Compton. I was in my shop was in Gardena, so all my little friends lived down that way. So I guess I didn't have no girlfriend at the time up in Palmdale. You know what I'm saying? So I bust a U-turn. I'm like, shoot, I need a local girl. I need a local friend, right? So I bust a U-turn and swoop up on her, and she's so fine. She looks at me, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And she look at me stupid. She look at me like that big, like Bismarcky, like, nigga, please, you work for UPS. Like, nigga, you stupid. You really go swoop up on me in a dirty-ass Tercel, a 92 at that? She didn't know that's TJ right there. That's the nigga in lowrider, Japanese lowrider, blah, 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 blah. That's the dude that they be doing videos. Them niggas, his homies is these guys that own record labels. That dude is about that life. He's the guy that you want to give him your number. But I would never tell people that. I would never tell people that. I was always a big liar and kept it to myself. People like, do you own that business? I'd be like, I wish I did. Shit. You know what I'm saying? I work here. And that's another thing that come back to haunt me. A lot of people didn't know I owned that shop because I would always lie. I'd never say it's mine. In business, you never want to be the owner, y'all. That's education number one. In business, no, that's education number two. You drive buckets. We don't need all that fancy stuff, y'all. Your regular car should not be no damn 500 Mercedes. You drive around it every day. You know what I'm saying? I know people that had hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, and they riding around in regular cars. But now I see these cats ain't got no money riding around in big fancy cars. Like, wow, really? So that was lesson number one. Real cats that really had money did not really drive that type of stuff every day. I see guys, their everyday car is a big fat BMW. Their everyday car is a big fat Mercedes. That's why you could always kind of tell who really got money and who don't. Because a lot of real cats don't drive stuff like that on a regular. Their wife might drive that, but you see them cats, they be driving in some bullshit. Excuse my language, y'all. So anyway, I swoops up on baby in my little 92 Toyota Tercel. Dirty, dent in the fender. I ain't even thinking about fixing that dent, and I definitely ain't thinking about fixing that or washing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, people would have to convince me, TJ, go wash the car, man. Because I wasn't tripping off of that stuff. You know, that don't faze me. So anyway, I'm trying to holler at her, and she was not feeling me because I was in the damn 92 Tercel, and she just was not feeling me. Nigga, you wear glasses. You in a 92 Tercel. You got on a mechanic outfit like you just left work or something. You work at UPS? What? Or you work at the gas station? Which one is it? You don't make no money. She's like, she too damn fine to be talking to my dirty ass driving in my 92 Tercel, right? So I'm like, wow. But I'm like, you too damn fine to be sitting out here and, you know what I'm saying, and not be talking to me, not be dating me. I'm like, I'm out here and I need a friend, and I think it need to be you. And she looking at me crazy. She like, nigga, please, will you just leave me alone? I'm waiting on my bus. I'm like, why are you on the bus? And she said she just moved out here, so she's coming from a job interview, so leave her alone. Ooh, very disrespectfully rude. Like, I'm bothering her. I'm like, okay. She ain't going for it. I said, all right, I'm TJ. Just to let you know, here's my card. If you change your mind, call me. And she looked at me. She was like, oh, okay. As a matter of fact, yes, you can drive me home. Like, really? Oh, so now you know I got a job, so I can drive you home. I can get your phone number now. She gave me the number, everything. So anyway, we hanging out, we kicking it. She became my girl. So we start dating and all of that. And I'm like, ooh, she just totally had a change of heart. All of a sudden, was it the card? Because she knew I had a job? She like, he got a good job. He works at a lowrider shop. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, did she see the name? Does she read the Lowrider magazine or something? Because my face was not in Lowrider magazine. I wasn't doing all that. I put the shop in there, but I wasn't putting my face up in there. You could forget about that. I did not. It was not about being the man, y'all. It was about stacking my cheese behind the scenes. Y'all be the man, but I just be the guy behind the scenes. That, you know what I'm saying? Y'all just check my account and let me know if I'm the man or not. But I didn't need to be the face. You know what I'm saying? That's why I never really, when I first started hanging out on that video scene, doing them videos and all that, I realized real quick, this ain't my life. I'm not about that life. This ain't my world. I don't like all this. So I stopped dealing with it. I let my homeboys go. And they would look at me, you crazy. All the rappers out there, all the models, them dancing sisters out there in the bikinis and stuff. Man, you crazy. They like, hell yeah, I'll go do that video. They be fighting over the videos. I'd be like, man, they sure you don't want to go? Hell no, I don't want to go. And that because that was not my scene. That was too much attention. So anyway, fast forward the story. I knew she never saw me in no video before. I knew she never saw me in that in the Lowrider magazine or any of them because I never took pictures back then. I very rarely took pictures because I remember thinking that growing up, people who took pictures, those pictures would always show up in court being used against you. You know what I'm saying? So I very rarely took pictures back then. I got a lot of amazing pictures, but I'm not in them. Did that come back to hurt me? Yes. Yes, because they be like, TJ, can you prove that you knew these people? I'd be like, no. You got pictures? Nope. I got pictures of them, but I took the picture, but I wasn't in it. So anyway, fast forward the story. Me and baby girl, she became my girl. We chilling, we kicking it, all of that. And you know what I'm saying? We going out and we going in and out of town. I'm taking her to car shows. We going all over the place, right? So she starts opening up and telling me who she was. And I don't want to go too deep in her life because she was dating she was dating a rapper back then. Her kid's father was a rapper or something like that. So something happened and something happened. Said, low key, what up? What's up, fam? So she was dating, her baby daddy was a rapper. Something went down and she had to jump up and move to Palmdale and get away and lay low, you know. So anyway, now she my girl. So all of a sudden, she started opening up and talking to me, telling me stories. She says, you remember when we met? She didn't want to give me her phone number. I said, yep, I remember that. You was rude. You was just mean. You wouldn't even give a brother the time of day. And she just laughed. I said, man, you thought I worked for UPS or something, you know? So she said, no. All right, y'all ready for this? She says her boyfriend at the time, before she met me, was one of them carjackers. He was one of them guys that would do licks, right? And I was at the top of that list. Turns out they have been preparing to set me up. They have been following me. She said they have been trying to follow me home to see where I lived at for like 5 months. She said, when you went home every day, that you knew you was being followed, so you would never go the same way. You would always see a car lights behind you making a turn, and you let the people pass you. It's like, I know the game, y'all. I knew the game, so I wasn't going out like that. So I know my face is I'm all in these magazines. These cats know who I am. They know I own that business. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't going out like that, right? So It took them a long time to follow me home. And let me tell y'all how they did it. They knew 90% of people in the Antelope Valley, Palmdale, California, lived on the east side of town. 90% of black people lived on the east side of town. In the east side, it goes over there and it just opens up to 10 million houses. So it would have been hard to find me over there. But because I lived on the west side of town, it was only like 2 streets that went into the west side of town. So when I'm driving home, I would always pick either or street, or sometime you got like 10th Street West, you got 20th Street West, you got 25th Street West, whatever. It just 10, 15, 20. Those streets were named after the numbers. So, I lived off of 25th Street West, hypothetically. No, seriously, because I can talk about it now because I don't live there no more. So I lived off of 25th Street West. So it was only 2 streets that go straight to take you there. So I would take both of those streets every day, every other day. Coming, I would take one street. Going home, I would take the other street. And then I would never stick to the same schedule. And then sometime, instead of me taking Palmdale Boulevard straight up, Palmdale Boulevard crossing, 10th Street, 15th Street, 20th Street, I would go, I would, instead of me going straight home, take Palmdale Boulevard straight to 25th Street West and make a right, or take Rancho Vista, straight up Rancho Vista and get to 25th Street, make a left. I wouldn't do that. I would go up Palmdale Boulevard, get to 15th Street, hit that side, go up 15th Street, hit the side street, that little back road, take that over to 17th Street, jump over to 18th Street, get to Rancho Vista, go down to Rancho Vista, cut up 20th Street, you know what I'm saying? Cut through a housing community, and then I would go home to 25th Street, north of 25th Street. Because I know the get down. I know my homeboys are jackers. I know the recipe. So I would just go out of my way on the way home every day. Going home was a mission, y'all. So how they found out where I lived at, I think they followed my wife, but she said what they did was they knew I was going that way home, up Palmdale Boulevard or up Rancho Vista. So what they would do is they had about 10 different dudes. They had one dude on the corner of 15th Street West and Palmdale Boulevard, one dude on the corner of 15th Street West and Rancho Vista Boulevard, one dude on the corner of 20th Street West and Palmdale Boulevard, one dude on the corner of 20th Street West in Rancho Vista Boulevard, one dude on the corner of 25th Street West in Palmdale Boulevard, one dude on the corner of 25th Street West and Rancho Vista Boulevard. So if I'm coming from my shop and I get ready to make that left turn, they don't have to follow me. They know I'm driving whatever this is I'm driving, and they always knew what I was driving, so that meant they didn't have to follow me home. They said, if I go up any of these streets and I make a left turn, somebody gonna see me. Oh, they sitting on the corner at the gas station. There you go. He just hit the corner in the green Tercel. He just hit the corner in the big white truck. He just hit the corner in the ragtop. He just hit the corner in the Maxima. I had a bunch of cars, so you never knew what I was driving. I had a bunch of buckets too. I had a Nissan, 87 Nissan pickup. I had a 1990 Toyota pickup. I had a 92 Toyota pickup truck. I had all kind of buckets, right? And you never knew what I was driving. I had a brand new Eddie Bauer Expedition. I had all type of stuff, and I would never drive the same cars home, y'all. So fast forward the story, they planted all those cars up all those streets to see where is he making that left or where is he making that right at. So all of a sudden, boom, they figured it out. We got him. And I didn't even realize it, but they saw me coming. And I passed by, they let me go, and they knew. Now I make a left turn off of Rancho Vista and 25th, right? Then I make a or I was going to make a right turn off of Rancho Vista, off of Palmdale Boulevard in 25th. So when I made that left turn off of Rancho Vista going up, the person that was on the corner of 25th and Palmdale Boulevard say he didn't pass by me. He did not pass me. I did not see he did not pass me. So he must live in this general vicinity. Now, keep in mind, there was only 3 neighborhoods over there. Y'all heard what I said? There was only 3 entrances into these neighborhoods. So now all they got to do is drive street after street after street after street and look for me, to look for my cars. That's all they had to do. So she finally said it took them about 5 months to figure out where I lived. So they figured it out. Now let me tell you what I did. I told my ex-wife back in the days, I stayed where my house was. It was like you had to go into the neighborhood. It was a real nice neighborhood, one of those fancy neighborhoods. I was like the second black person to move up in that neighborhood. And of course, there was a lot of racism. They was mad that I moved in there. They did not like me being up in that neighborhood because that's where all the police lived at. That's where all the firefighters lived. And they did not like the fact that it was a black dude that lived up in there. They had a problem with it. But because of who I was, they did not bother me, right? They knew they did not bother me. They're like, that nigga came home with a rag top 61. He had a hard top 57 Chevy. He's a hoodster. Don't bother him. They said, Karen, do not bother him. Karen, don't bother him. He's not the one. Don't do that. So fast forward the story. So to get to my house, you'd have to go up the main street, and the main street did all of this, had all those curves and stuff, right? So in my street itself, it curved the same way. Oh, that was them fancy neighborhoods, they make the street do all of that. Growing up in Compton, it was straight through. So this particular neighborhood is fancy, so it's like they want to confuse you if you don't live in that neighborhood, right? So if you driving into my neighborhood up that main street that goes into all the housing community where I lived at, it curved. And if you stopped at one little bitty spot, and you park right here on the curve of that main street, which is no parking on that street, by the way. There is no parking on that street, right? Because it's only communities. There's no reason for it because it's people's backyards, their side gates, their brick walls. It's a fancy neighborhood. So if you park by that brick wall in front of this fancy street and you look, you got to be right here. You can't be, it's only like a 5-foot window. And you can see the front door of my house in my driveway. Because the street, remember the street do that. But it was perfectly, if you sit right here, you couldn't sit right there. You had to sit right here and you could see my front door and my driveway to my house, right? So I told my ex, I said, if you ever see somebody sitting right here, not right there, but right here in this little 5-foot window, I need you to call me and tell me immediately. And she was like, why? Why would I? Why? What's it? I said, because if they sitting right there at that spot, they watching us. She was like, TJ's paranoid. Oh my God, TJ's paranoid. Whatever. I was like, yeah, whatever. You just let me know if you see somebody. If you ever see somebody sitting at this spot, you tell me immediately. I don't care what you're doing. You pick up your phone, you hang up your phone, and you call me immediately and tell me. So I need to know if somebody's watching me, right? So, of course, let me give you another story. But it's the same story. So she worked evenings, and she came home in the evening. She worked swing shift, so she came home in the evening, and she said, oh, yeah. I was like, how'd your day go? Oh, whatever, blank, blank, blank. Then she goes, oh, yeah. Remember you told me if there's ever a car sitting in that spot, blah, 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 the 5-foot window, and right there in front of that little mailbox, and that little post, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, what about it? There's a car sitting there right now. I went, really? Like, hold on. So I immediately got on it, right? tell y'all this story. I get on it. It's about 11:30 at night. Ain't no parking on that street, y'all. Ain't no reason for nobody to be out there. Fast forward the story. I'm like, do I walk down the street with my gun and snatch these white people out this car? See what they want. Why they watching my house? What do I do? So I'm sitting there like, okay, this is a white neighborhood. I can't do that. They already watching me. They don't like me over here. Karen be grinding her teeth every time she see me, but she don't never say nothing. White Bob, he don't say nothing either. So all of a sudden, they know I'm drug dealer, right? I ain't no drug dealer. I own a $1 million lowrider shop, but they want me to be a drug dealer. So every black man that's successful got to be a drug dealer, right? So that's how they looked at me. But they would never say that. They would never ask me, what do I do for a living? They would always ask my wife, what does he do for a living? My ex-wife. So all of a sudden, fast forward the story, I didn't walk down there like I wanted to. I was about to start jumping people's fences until I got down there and snatch them out the car, open the door, open the window up. What you doing? But I didn't do that. So I said, let me call the police. So I pick up the phone. I call the police. I said, I put on my best white voice I can think of. I said, yeah, officer, I think there's a home invasion robbery going on right now. There's a car sitting at the corner where there's no parking at, And I think they're doing a home invasion, and I heard somebody screaming, and I saw some guys walking by with guns, and they ran in the house, and they was in the bushes, and right there on the corner. Yes, they're in a white car. And the lady's like, what is the car? What does it look like? See, you could tell she's typing. She's like, as I'm talking, she's typing. And I'm like, ooh, I hear the typewriter. I hear it. That means she going live right now, letting everybody know. Because remember, this is a nice neighborhood. This is the white side of town. So when you call the police, before you get off that phone, they gonna be there. This ain't like Compton where the police take 2-3 hours to come. They was on it, right? So as I'm sitting there talking, they asking me questions. They said, what does the car look like? I said, it is a 1992 Ford Thunderbird, white. And all of a sudden, the lights on the Thunderbird turned on, and all of a sudden, the car pulled off. So y'all know what that just meant, right? Y'all know what that meant, right? Them was the police watching my house. But that's a whole nother story for another day. But I want to tie that into that. So anyway, let's go back to the home invasion experts, to my brothers that do they home and they resume say home invasionist, home invasion experts. You know what I'm saying? Jacker extraordinaires, Kidnapper Incorporated. You know what I'm saying? They was on me trying to follow me home, and they figured out where I lived at, and they was getting ready to move in on me, and they had to make a phone call. So she said they would be at her house in the living room putting it down. Got all these pictures, know all my cars, license plates, the color. He got 10 cars he drive. He got a 92 Toyota pickup. He got a 1990 Nissan pickup with dents in it. It's black. He got a Honda Accord. You know what I'm saying? It's dirty. And he... they had it all down. They done been surveying me for the longest, right? So all of a sudden, she said they was ready to make the move. And then one day the phone rung. Now keep in mind, she was like, her dude was about that life. He was, like I said, he was a kidnapper for real, for real. So they turned around and was getting ready to make that move. I think the next day they were supposed to be coming. And she said, then the phone rung. And all of a sudden, they told the wrong person what they was about to do and who they was about to do. And when they told them who it was, the phone, people be recruiting, right? When they was recruiting to get the crew together, they talked. People was talking too much. And they told the wrong person that they was about to get this dude named TJ. He owned a lowrider shop up here in Palmdale. And they must have called and said something to them. And the next thing you know, they was like, you better cancel that right away. That is the next, don't do that. And whatever happened, sister told me, she said, She'd never seen her gangster ass boyfriend so scared. She'd never seen that before. She'd never seen nobody tell him not to do something and get reinforced so heavily, you know. And I just, so she was telling me that. And she said, so they pulled out, they threw everything away, shredded it, burned it, got rid of it, told people don't ever, 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 ever talk about that again. Don't bring that nigga name up. Don't bring dude's name up. So she said she was wowed out, like, wow, who the hell is this guy that owned that shop? Who is this TJ guy? I thought he was a nerd. I thought he was broke, drove buckets and stuff, you know? And the next thing you know, she said, I really want to meet this cat one day. She said she just thought about it. She'd like to meet me. And then all of a sudden, when I swooped up on her on that bus stop that day, she was not interested in me. But when I said that name and she put two and two together, she said, wow, she want to talk to me. And so I said, so are you setting me up right now? She was like, no, they broke up a long time ago. And I was like, wow. I was like, wow. You know, and I would always have my home. So anyway, I would like to say, thank you for relationships, y'all. Thank you for relationships. Me having so many good friends, blood and Crips, because that might have went wrong. Not saying that I wouldn't have been ready, but that could have went wrong. They could have been successful at what they wanted to get. You know what I'm saying? And that could have went the wrong way. So that was Monday. You know what I'm saying? That was just one day of my life as an entrepreneur, of me putting my cars, my shop in Lowrider Magazine, me having all these people working for me, you know, and yeah, it was relationships, y'all. I did not grow up saying I'm a blood, a Crip. I grew up trying to be friends with everybody, and I was actually called a sellout growing up. People was looking at me like, nigga, he's a sellout. That nigga messing with them Crips, he a sellout. He must be a Crip. I was like, I'm black. They look just like me. Why we can't be friends? Everybody look like me. Why we can't all be friends? And that was like a mortal sin, because I have some of my friends, they some cold-blooded cats, right? But here's another situation, right? Growing up in my neighborhood, they was about that gangbanging life, for real, for real. You know, at Centennial High School, that's a good story. I might tell that tomorrow. Centennial High School. Oh, man, I got to tell y'all Centennial High School stories. In fact, I should be on damn YouTube. Matter of fact, we need to download this and put this video on YouTube. And I need to figure out how to connect this so all the stuff will be saved on my YouTube page. But yeah, that could have went wrong, y'all. So I'm very humbled and thankful that, you know, the universe allowed me not to be no gangbanger. The universe allowed me to not be committed to one area and say I'm just my neighborhood and all that stuff. It was like everybody my friend. But where I was lucky at, and I'm gonna tell you, here's another little story. Growing up, I made a little money, and I decided that I could talk to these Crips. You know what I'm saying? These my friends. You know, we make money together, so I could talk to them. They come over my house, even though my neighborhood was the most notorious neighborhood for gangbanging. You know what I'm saying? So I was so lucky that I had some of the main guys in the neighborhood was my buddies, was my best friends. They was like, TJ ain't about this life. He ain't no gangbanger. TJ's a hustler. TJ likes to hustle. He's a hustler. He ain't in that gangbanging. So because I made money, they respected me. A few of those leaders. See, you didn't have to have the whole neighborhood love you. You just had to have the important ones love you. You feel me? So the important people in my neighborhood, I grew up with these cats. We shot marbles together. You know what I'm saying? We shot marbles on the ground, shooting marbles together. You know, in elementary school, grew up to be the leaders, OG gangsters of the neighborhood. So those was my allies. Those was my brothers. And they was like, everybody else we kill, except for TJ. Anybody else do that shit TJ's doing, they gonna get killed. But TJ's cool. He got a pass. Nobody better not fuck with it. And by the way, one of those guys that said that was the guy that was shot with Suge Knight that day out here at Jermaine Dupri's party. Big Jake, that was a good friend of mine. And he was one of my allies who had my back. He didn't care. Even though they be out there on missions, they be like, TJ's off limits, leave him alone. So anyway, relationships, y'all. I was very thankful for not being a gangbanger. So I say that to all y'all young gangbangers, y'all young want to be a blood, want to be a Crip. That shit ain't worth it, y'all. I grew up to be one of the most known, loved guys out there because I knew everybody. When we convinced, oh, don't get me started. We can tell you all about the peace treaties and stuff like that I helped with. So anyway, relationships, y'all. It's all about relationships. So any of y'all thinking about being a gangbanger, want to be a hustler, want to be a baller, want to be the man, or want to be a successful business owner, it don't pay to have your money all out in the public eye for people to see it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody see me, they say, TJ, you had that shirt on yesterday. I probably did. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't worth it to be out there with all that bling bling and all that stuff, y'all. So don't let these cats fool you with all this rap video stuff. Who's the man and who dressed who got the fancy cars. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I seen on social media recently that somebody who does that, who puts all his cars and his house on there, some people ran up in his house. And then he started backpedaling and changing things and had to go live and let the world know that he ain't keeping that shit at his house no more. You know what I'm saying? That's the stuff that people need to know. So don't let people trick you and convince you that it's all about that Gucci life and that Rolex and that Mercedes and that Porsche and that Jaguar, that Lamborghini truck. That shit ain't worth it. That's a high cost to pay, y'all. Freedom and peace is a high price. So I was thankful. Then gangbanging, it ain't worth it, y'all. So I'm not telling y'all that story to say, oh, I'm the man, y'all want to be like me. I'm telling y'all that story to say, I was very humble and thankful that I did not grow up about that gangbang life, that I did not get pulled in through peer pressure to be with my homeboys while they was gangbanging, I grew up in a very sticky situation because, I had to walk to school with these gangsters. These my boys. Everybody going the same way. Of course, I got to walk with them. So everybody said, that nigga's from over there. I seen him with him. He walked with him every day. And it was just bad. It was all by default, So that's how a lot of people say, that nigga from that neighborhood over there. It's like, wow. And then it's like, I remember one of my homeboys, rest in peace, every time he introduced me, he was an OG Crip from Grape Street, matter of fact. Every time he introduced me, he would tell all his homeboys, that's my homeboy TJ from Campanella Park, Piru. And I hated that shit. I hated that. But he would not let me deny that shit that I lived over there. He would not, but what he was doing, he was building me up to be respected. They like, damn, homie, you's an OG. If you bring that nigga over here, he must be somebody. So that's how I was, that helped me out a lot. That really helped me out a lot. They like, man, if that nigga respect him, we respect him. But anyway, I ain't telling y'all these stories to make y'all think I'm somebody. I'm just telling y'all these stories that I caught hell for hanging with old boy. Oh, man, people was mad at me for hanging with him and us being business partners, and doing things back in the days. But boy, I tell you, when I got my first shot, trust and believe nobody from that neighborhood would bother me. Nobody in his sphere of influence would even look my way, and he would beat the shit out of them if they found out that they did not support me and help me. If something happened to me and they did not help me and they was there, that was a cardinal sin. It was going to be a problem. So relationships, y'all. Relationships, you know what I'm saying? That dude that you don't like might be your greatest ally. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Y'all know I got that. Let me let y'all see my trophies. Because of them relationships, it opened the door to help me. This West Coast Hip Hop Awards, my contributions to putting lowriders in the rap videos and all that stuff back in the days. They gave me that. That's for that. And then somebody else gave me another one. Somebody else gave me another one for my contributions to the city. Look at that. It got another one. 2 awards in 1 month. August 5th and August 26th or something like that. Don't quote me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't bragging. I'm just letting y'all know. Good deeds, y'all. Helping the community. Being culturally responsible. Trying to help make sure my people got jobs. It took them 20 years to give it to me. 30 years to give it to me, but I got it. I started getting them. I got 5 awards this year for my contributions to my people, y'all. I'm humbled and thankful for it. So this one gonna spend a lifetime in the box, unless I decide to put it on the shelf. But yeah, that's one of my stories. That's one of my crazy stories. So, like I said, that was just one day. I got so many crazy stories, y'all. I'm gonna go. Y'all go to my YouTube page, Thomas TJ Lofton, and subscribe and follow me, because when I find some time, I'm gonna start telling stories. You know what I'm saying? To hopefully inspire, educate, motivate. You know. So what was the moral of the story today? Don't be flossy. Don't be showing off. Pay attention to your surroundings. Relationships help. See, a lot of people say, oh, them dudes is gangbangers, them is gangsters, I don't want nothing to do with them, and this and that. And then a lot of people have friends that are that, but they don't acknowledge the fact that they know these guys and they're good friends. So I couldn't have made it if it wasn't for them, y'all. Y'all heard what I said? I could not have made it because I had so many relationships with them type of people. That's how I was able to open up that lowrider shop. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew if they said something to me, they're going to have a problem with those 30 guys. If they said something to me, they're going to have a problem with them other 50 guys, Bloods and Crips and Mexicans. So I had a lot of relationships with people that y'all would least expect. You'd be like, people would be looking at me like, how the hell do you know them? Them is some killers. Them guys is crazy. Them guys is car thieves, and these guys is gangsters, and these guys is all got guns. And why they respect you? Why they like you? Why they love you so much? You know, relationships, you know. So I never turned my back on them. These still my partners, you know what I'm saying? And boy, I tell you how many times something happened. I heard about me. They was gonna do something to me, and it would every time they do a credit check, it would get stopped right then and there because of them relationships, you know. So this story is based on relationships. We got to communicate, y'all. We got to work together. Some of my most powerful moments was when people said that this happened and the Crips did it. And the Bloods is ready to go shoot them, or the Bloods did it and the Crips was ready to go shoot up the neighborhood. And I would make a phone call and call the opposite and find out. They'd be like, no, we didn't do that. That was such and such and them. I'd be like, what? They'd be like, yeah, he was fucking that nigga girlfriend. That's why they did that. I'd be like, what? That ain't what he said. So relationships will find out the truth. Relationships will always find out the truth, y'all. So that's one thing they don't want us doing growing up, is they don't like us having relationships. You know what I'm saying? They don't like us having relationships. They don't like us communicating with each other. They don't want the Bloods talking to the Crips. They don't want the Crips talking to the Bloods. They don't want the Bloods and Crips talking to the Mexicans. They don't want the Mexicans talking to the Bloods and the Crips. They want us all to feud and not get along. And it really bothers them to knowing that we all working together and communicating. You know what I'm saying? So some of my strongest strengths was the simple fact that I had so many relationships with people you would least expect it. You would least expect it. So I am humbled. I am thankful that the universe, the ancestors had a bigger plan for me. And I got to see how those relationships helped me to help with that gangbang problem and stopping it. You know what I'm saying? In my age line, in my timeline. You know, so again, stories. So many stories to tell, talk about. Anybody got any questions for me? Any thoughts? While y'all got me on here, let me go through here and see who said what, who did it. Probably wasn't a good white voice. I ain't good at pretending to be a white person. That Cash App is right there. Money sign Thomas T.J. Lofton. Other than that, y'all got any questions for me? Any thoughts? People be, can you say? People be, again, I ain't here to glorify. Hey, Miss Aldonia. Yeah, celebrity car builds. Celebrity car builds. Oh, it's supposed to say celebrity car builder. Be weird things happening with my website, so we gotta fix that. It'd be weird things happening in my social media. Like right now, let's say I got 3 people on here. But here's another thing. I appreciate them 1,000 likes y'all gave me on TikTok. I'm on TikTok too, y'all. Any thoughts, any ideas, Miss Veronique? What's going on? Iron Currency, Breach Check, Run the Play, Goddess Queen, Porter, Alphinator, Said Low Key, Jackpot, Mr. Brown, Dr. Patrice, what's going on? Beverly, John Bosco, Sophia, Samara, The One, J.O., Wolf, Black Owned, Fly Dream Flights. What's up, partner? Y'all know we got brothers out here with private jets, y'all, that flies jets and stuff. Adolf, Chando, Yahisha, Smee. If I butcher your name, y'all don't get mad at me. So I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. I appreciate all y'all. I sent all y'all a little what's up or a hand wave. Anybody want to come in? Got any questions, any thoughts, any ideas? So, you know, why do I think about that kind of stuff? Because it's like so many people promoting stupid stuff. You know, I'm sure some of y'all may not appreciate it. That story didn't think it was appropriate for my brand and all of that. But I did grow up in Compton, y'all. I think y'all know that's for real. You know, a lot of people be like, he so sound hood sometimes. Well, it is what it is, you know. But long story short, I do appreciate being appreciated. I do appreciate the respect that I've gotten. I do appreciate being thought about and said, let's give TJ an award. Everybody agreed on this, y'all. Everybody agreed on it. Give it to TJ. Give it to TJ. Because of his contributions to the community of making sure that people was getting along and everybody working together, you know. And all these cats became business owners. You know, I appreciate that, y'all. It's very humbling in my life. One of the best things I ever did was not be a gang member and build and connect people so we could save some lives out there. And I'm looking for other people to do that kind of stuff. So anyway, y'all know I teach classes. I got coaching classes. I'm a real estate, they say I'm pretty good at real estate, y'all. I'm like the national expert, gentrification expert. I'm very well versed in, I'm not on here to teach y'all, I don't want to say teach y'all about real estate. I'm not on here trying to really just teach y'all about, oh, this is how you flip houses and all of that. I'm on here to teach y'all about what's going on with the community so that y'all can, you know, make sure everybody's cool. Make sure people don't end up being gentrified and pushed out the city. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm on here to teach people what's really going on and how to deal with it. That's what I'm trying to do. There's too many people having their houses taken from them. There's too many people having their land taken from them. There's too many people who renting stuff that they should be buying. There's too many people that's fixing up other people's stuff. You know, career renters don't think they can afford to buy, don't think they know what to do, and you know, got businesses and sitting there renting businesses from people, renting buildings from people. There's so much stuff going on in our community. And because I got over 30 years in business, y'all, running $1 million business, y'all, multiple $1 million businesses in my lifetime. I ain't say I got all that today, you know what I'm saying? But I owned it and ran it, you know what I'm saying? So, and very well, I'm getting awards for it to this day. I appreciate that too, y'all. But y'all need coaching, training, consultations. Y'all want to take some of my classes, go to my website, tjlofton.com. Again, go to my website, tjlofton.com. It's on my IG page. It should be at the top of my TikTok page as well. You know, going to the top of my IGs and TikToks, and my website is there. And I got classes coming up. I got webinars on my page that educates you and tells you what's going on. Tells you what's going on around the world, tells you how people really making money, tell people what kind of bamboozles is being planted in the community that's trying to discourage people and make sure they go broke and be struggling. You know what I'm saying? What type of things that's planted, disinformation is planted in our communities. So all this stuff all these videos and webinars and classes are on my page, and I'm going to be putting a lot more classes on my page so y'all can check it out. It's up right now. I did a few, you know, my assistant did a whole updated the website. Shout out to her for making that happen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so if y'all interested in taking some of them classes, you can go in the shop. If I got one-on-one classes, you know, my real estate classes. Don't let the price discourage you, because I got a sale that's kind of like coming up to the end on my bigger classes. But my classes for now, I'm at the end of the line on doing one-on-one classes. Like I get like $8,000 to $10,000 for a one-on-one class. You know what I'm saying? But they don't hit the sale for half off. So, you know, I got $6,000 classes. I got $75 classes, you know. So I'm coming to the end of the line on doing the one-on-ones, because I'm starting to get, it's too many people. But I'm going to start going into this online class stuff. So I'm downloading all that information into the system so that y'all can go on to the website and download classes and take them at your leisure when you get time, like everybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of the last of the pioneers to say I'm not doing it. I'm not doing them online stuff. I'm not putting my information online. So I appreciate y'all for subscribing into my page. Matter of fact, I got one of the coldest real estate books y'all ever seen on my page. It's called Monetizing Gentrification, because I feel like, how you gonna have people coming into our community, gentrifying the heck out of us, our communities, and turn around making all this money off of our neighborhoods, and we not making money in the process? Not gentrifying us, but protecting the neighborhood. It creates wealth in the process, you know? So I teach people how to do that, but I wrote that book. Y'all got to remember, when I came out of my industry, a pioneer of a whole industry. I was the driving force to lowriding. I was the one that was in all the lowrider magazines. I was the one that pioneered, first to have multiple locations, first to do this, first to do that, first, all that stuff. So when I stopped and sat down and wrote a book, y'all, it became a bestseller real quick, because a lot of people wanted to know, how the hell did he think like that? How did he figure all that stuff out? So they wanted to get an understanding of how I think. So when I wrote that book, it opened up the world for people to get an understanding of how I process information. Because unlike them, back then I didn't mess with it. They didn't have a social media. I wasn't that kind of guy to be on social media. So they never knew how I thought. So now when I wrote my first book, it just blew up, y'all. It did very well. Then I wrote the second one, and that did very well. And it's like, because people want to know, how the hell did one of the leading guys in lowriding, the guy who got the first award, the first ever award from the West Coast hip hop in 15 years, I got the first trophy that was ever given to a car builder. You know what I'm saying? They want to know, how the hell do he think? Who is that brother? How did he help organize all them gangs? How did he do this? How did he come up with the idea to do that? How did he give them hell? How did I give all those other businesses hell all them years? So when a person like me write a book, family, people buy that book. You understand what I'm saying? Because it ain't gonna be no generic ass information in my book. It's crazy information. It pissed off a lot of people when I wrote it. You know, people read that book. Some people got mad just because I wrote a book. People like me, oh, Instagram say, you've been on TikTok say, yeah, been on for 90 minutes. Don't forget to take a break. I was winding down TikTok. I'm long-winded. First I go from not talking about nothing to talking now on social media. When I get to talking, I'm gonna talk, but other than that, I don't got nothing to talk about. I don't say nothing. I just watch and observe. But anyway, I would love for y'all to pick up a copy of that book, because there's a lot of things going on in the world, y'all, that y'all really, really need to know. And I would love, also, I got a $99 webinar coming up. Y'all definitely want to get that video. Get that webinar. It's going to be live. It ain't going to be pre-recorded yet. All this stuff is about to be turned into pre-recordings, though. Be pre-recorded. So get on to some of the last of the live one-on-one stuff with me. You know, and support, y'all. And if you don't need it, give it to somebody who do, because trust me, it's a lot of stuff going on in the world that people need to know about. And I'm giving up the game. I'm not talking generically. I'm not in there talking. I'm giving up the game. I pissed off a lot of real estate agents because they felt like I gave up too much information. I'm like, so what? Y'all, it's $1 trillion industry. Y'all can't buy it all. You know what I'm saying? August 30th, Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So y'all scoop up, register for that class. Y'all get your link so that y'all can participate in that class. If you don't have time, if that don't permit with your schedule, call me, inbox me, and say you would like a copy of that before the webinar. You know what I'm saying? Before I upload it to the page, you would like to get a copy of it. You know what I'm saying? So you pay for it. It's $75. It's gonna be $99. But by the time it hit my page, it might be $125 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because of the amount of game I give up that's going on around the world. I'm talking about everything that we need to know, all the things that people, how they getting over on people, how they disinformation people. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving up a lot of game, y'all. And like I said, when I talk, people be listening, y'all. People that know me listen, because they know what I've done, who I am. Most people don't know who I am and what I've done because of where I come from. I come from a very exclusive community. You know what I'm saying? They say I come from lowrider royalty. I was one of the best that did it, they say. So, you know, y'all might want to listen in and get that class. Tune into that class, take that webinar, or at least get that book, because there's a lot of stuff in there you need to know. There's a lot of stuff in there y'all need to know. All right, fam, I appreciate y'all. Hit that Cash App you like to make a donation so I can keep up these stories. Inspire me to keep doing it, y'all. Other than that, I might feel bad. Why I'd say that shit? I should have never said that. I need to delete that. That's me. That's classic TJ. I should have never said. Let me delete that shit. That's classic TJ. And now here's the funnier thing. If I don't delete it, somebody else goes back and delete it. And I ain't talking about people from my team. They say remove. A lot of my videos get removed because of the stuff I talk about. It's a lot of things that people talk about that don't mean anything. It's important to a lot of people, but I don't want to say it don't mean anything. I think talking about real estate on the level that I know it, people get very upset about that, because they don't want us learning real estate. They want us to learn about stocks and bonds and all this other stuff, cryptos and all that. But they don't want us learning real estate. And I'm one of the realest real estate persons out there that actually did it. But anyway, y'all, appreciate y'all time. If y'all like to hit that Cash App, make a donation, go on there and get a copy of that book. That's supporting me so I can keep on doing what I'm doing. And if y'all want to register for that training, that webinar coming up, it's still $99. Other than that, it's August 30th. That's tomorrow, actually. Y'all might want to tune in to get that. That's today, actually, if you're on the West Coast, East Coast. Other than that, if you want coaching, if you want a consultation, I get $250 for 30 minutes, $500 for an hour. All that's on the website. So inbox me or just call me, 310-619-3954. If you're talking business, I'll call you back. If you just got a bunch of questions to ask me, then, you need a consultation. If you got questions you want to ask me, you need a consultation, y'all. I got answers. You talk to me. You ain't going to talk to nobody else. So give me a minute. I'll call you back and I'll answer your questions. I'll work with you. If you want me to train you, if you want me to coach you, if you want me to be your mentor, I don't have a problem with it. It's just sign up for a package. Peace and love, family. I'm out. Y'all have a good rest of y'all evening or night or morning. Rise in peace.